time on just to see how far it is.
Morning. The cup says the good life, and it is. Big bay. No surf though, which is a bit sad, but I'll tell you what, I'm going for a paddle.
And Chopper over here went and blew the fuse on the cigarette light in the cubbyhole, so Umpi at the Isuzu dealership in George is helping us start putting a new fuse in, and we'll be up on the road in no time. Destination De Hell.
Cycle there, and now cycle back.
So we were from Prince Albert into De Hell yesterday.
Yeah.
And from De Hell back to here.
And why? Is there something wrong with you guys?
Because we have the thinnest, lightest that wants to that came here once and is confident. Ew, that'd be cool for the posse to come and ride. Said the 62-kilo hobbit over there.
It's going to be something really special for me. Spend a night in De Hell, have a chat with the locals, and find out why on earth you'd want to live so far from civilization. This little koppie remains one of my favourite places. I discovered Waterkop Lodge a few years ago, and it's probably my 5th time that I've come to visit. You sit up here and it is just such a beautiful place to reflect and unwind and relax. And what I love is, if you look right there, is the town of Prince Albert. Beautiful town, well established, well known, the hip little Karoo town. But here we are just outside the town. You don't even know that Prince Albert is right there, because your view is this vista through the Karoo veld and the koppies, and it is just amazing. And at night, the stars, unbelievable. I've slept outside, just taken a sun lounger and lay there, and it's a really, really special place. And that is what I love about the Karoo, is that you're happy to do nothing. You're happy just to sit back and enjoy life and understand why it's important to slow down sometimes. And that is what this trip is all about, you know, slowing down, and I'm not really doing that at the moment. I'm rushing from place to place. So maybe it's quite symbolic that I come back to my favourite little koppie just to reflect about how to do things with the show, you know. It's a really special experience, and I just want to make sure that I capture every moment of that, and that I enjoy it as well, and that the dogs are having a good time too. Beautiful, eh? Good morning, day 8. We've come to Prince Albert not to film. It's a well enough known town. It's my little hideout, so I can just sit down and catch up on some rest, catch up on some editing, and also some downtime for the dogs. You know, the dogs are actually taking quite a bit of strain. It's making me just reconsider how I do this trip. That moving every day, packing up, is just not viable. Yeah, Waterkop Lodge is not a place you want to just spend one night. We should really be here for the week. The wind was crazy yesterday. Today is a perfect day, the day when I'm meant to be in the pool and going. Anyway, it is what it is. But the next destination is another place that I've stayed at a few times, and that is Numbi, which is off the grid. So we're continuing that trend. We're going to join Ross and Kath over there and really get to see what permaculture living is all about. Their place is just outside the wrist. Short drive, but another amazing mountain pass to tackle. Meiringspoort, this time on Taal. longest travels from De Rust through to Prince Albert and back. I always saw this little town called Klaarstroom, and I've actually driven through it a few times and wondering who on earth lives in literally this one street town. Well, would you believe it, but my good mate and racing ace, dog lover Koos Roets' dad lives in Klaarstroom. So we're going to go and meet Koos Roets and find out what on earth he's doing here. That's from Reggie. So I've got to give you a big hug. How's it going?
Yeah, we love it. We're now here
How long?
13 years.
13
Nearly
years?
14 years.
Retired here.
No. I'm just directing a very big international boxing movie and then a big movie about the ducker.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the virus to go away.
Now listen, we all are. But why here?
I've first discovered this place when I DOP'd for Jans Rautenbach movie, feature film. And I said one day I'm going to stay here, and that's what I did. I moved from, couldn't stand Johannesburg anymore.
Yeah.
So I came here.
If he's not in the microlight on the rubber duck or in a car or fixing a bike, do you get that from you?
I think so, yes, because he was 2 years old, 3 years older than me. I bought the first aircraft, and he grew up with aeroplanes, so I think that's the reason that, and also I used to race in the olden days, historic racing. I had a whole passion for lotuses. At one stage I had 23 lotuses.
Record would have been sitting there thinking, working around, fixing the things. I mean, he's just fixed his bike now again, his little pride and joy.
Yeah, we had to prepare the first 2-3 years when he raced Formula Ford. He had to prepare his own car. I used to sit there and do the donkey work for him, but he set up and he built his own motors and all that. And, I remember we were very poor at one stage and he was doing quite well. And we blew up his motor, his engine in a Formula Ford, so we had to get one. So I had to sell my lounge suite. I sold my lounge suite.
Seriously?
Yeah, to buy an engine for Regat, and the motor lasted 3 laps and it blew up again, and there was no guarantee on it.
But you know what? Those are stories. I mean, like, once you're a racer, you're committed to that way of life. It's not going to change. You can always make a plan. I'm sure he's paid you back for that lounge suite.
Oh yes, and in love and in affection, yes.
Yeah. You've done a good job with him, eh?
Thank you.
He's a straight shooter, which I really appreciate. But I am going to cuck him up because I have no idea about your about your career and your passion. So when did that start?
Movies.
Yeah.
When I was standard 1 in school, I was 9, and I started building projectors and things out of cardboard boxes and these old 2 1/4 negatives. We used to wash them and put them back in water. And then when it's blank, you would draw all sorts of a copy, Mickey Mouse and everything on that.
And you projected on a wall?
Yeah. And then when I was about standard 6, where my father was a teacher, we moved to a little town called Kerstel. And my aunt gave me 10 bob for my birthday. And I'm the guy who used to do the warm water. We had a donkey there, which you had to feed every night with wood. He said to me, give me the 10 bob and I'll make you lots of money. And I gave it to him and he put it on the horses on the July, and I won 15 pounds. Because, no, 7 pounds. It was 15 to 1. It was an outsider. and I bought my first movie camera, which I still have. And with that we used to film every single birth and death in the whole town. And I made a bit of money from that, so I could buy a 16mm projector. And then we started showing movies in the local town hall.
Did you come up with your own stories to tell? You bought the camera now, so now you're shooting whatever's happening in town, editing it, putting it all together in those days?
Yeah. We used to still cut it and splice it, little 8mm. Then we made little films. And I was a fanatic.
As kids?
Yeah, I was a fanatic about Jamie Ace's work. And even although we lived in Kestell in the Free State, I called the company Borstel Film Productions.
What's your take on where technology's gone from a film? Because now everyone with a cell phone is producing content, but it's about telling a story and knowing how to picture.
That's fortunately the case. That if you can't, you can have the most wonderful equipment in the world. If you don't know how to use it, you might as well give up. I want to show you the size of this. Oh, look at that. That's me. So look at the size of the camera.
No way.
Look at that.
That's twisting over.
That was
You can't
69, 70, I think.
you can't put that on your shoulder. Eh? This is those stories you hear about the barn finds, because this is a hell of a barn with a couple of amazing finds. Talk about this.
Yeah, about 25 years ago I walked into somebody's backyard and found out in Johannesburg, and I found the chassis and the wheels and the instruments and bits and pieces, the radiators, and I always wanted to build a SS Jaguar. And these Jaguars, as you know, were originally in one go for 8-9 million rand. So my friend, I walked in my friend's workshop, Greg, and I said to him, look Greg, I want a car like this. And that's what he built for me.
Unbelievable.
No plans, no nothing.
He's a bit of a magician.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a quick chat to him now. I mean, he literally works alone, does all the work himself. So the body work, the woodwork, the leather, the electrics, everything.
Absolutely. The engines, the gearboxes, the lock, he can do everything except the instruments. The instruments he didn't want to touch. And we send it off to England, and with this COVID business, they've got such a backlog. It hasn't been finished yet. So that's otherwise the car is 100% going and running.
Do things like this still exist? I mean, you know, the area you're living in, I've made the joke about those stories.
Yeah, we tried to rescue these things because a lot of these cars are lying around with the palms and they're just going to wreck and ruin. Not that, I don't think one should cheat these guys and tell us, the owners of the things, it's worth nothing. We try and get it from a reasonable price. But I mean, to restore a car like this costs us 600,000.
Yeah.
So.
And that's still, I don't think, accurate in terms of the time.
That's not a great start.
That's not time. It's a real.
That's just the spares and bits and pieces.
I mean, it's a love affair to do something like this.
But I mean, this is aluminium. It's not fiberglass. Not many people can work with it with this old English wheel.
Yeah.
And so forth. That's absolutely.
I was telling Greg now when we went to collect the keys there that last year I was in with Aston Martin at Aston Martin Works. I watched them busy with their DB4 Zagato continuations.
I saw that, yes.
And it's unbelievable to watch the skill set that's been rebirthed because those carpenters and the coach builders don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
But because of the interest in classics, these people now are coming back into the trade. It's incredible the skill and craftsmanship.
You see, the more modern cars get, the less they're pleasurable to drive. So people they must have something that at least rattles and something must fall off.
What's good character?
Yeah.
So you've driven it obviously?
Yeah, it goes.
How often do you drive it now? Because it's also not good for a car to stand.
No, we start the motor and run it, and we're just waiting for this. The minute this is in, we will take it to at least to Mossel Bay or to Georgia.
I bet Record wants to be on that first ride.
Absolutely, I'm sure that. Also, we'd like to have it in one piece.
Yeah, no, he's going to probably try and race it up the hill. There are enough mountain passes around here. No, Koos, listen, it's been. I didn't know what to expect. Reggie said to me, "Come meet my dad." Bloody hell! What a cool afternoon in Klaarstroom, of all places. I know for a fact that I'm going to say this quite a few times on this 30-day adventure of mine. When you're driving through a place and you see something interesting and you wonder what goes on there, who lives there,
stop and go and find out, because guaranteed it'll be a hidden gem. Who would have thought in Klaarstroom, not only to catch up with Koos Roets' old man, the stories that he has to tell, and this, I mean, a barn find of epic proportions, the cars that are being restored here, really is pretty special. Amazing.
See how relaxed you get when you come to Numbi. You opt for rooibos tea, no sugar, no milk, instead of a beer or a glass of wine. But this is always it's good too. But this is always one of my favorite parts when I come here. I always ask Ross and Kath to make me a pizza, and it's a special pizza. Besides the oven being pretty funky, it's all of the ingredients straight off their farm. You do not get fresher or better. Pretty cool. Look at the look of hunger. This is what I love.
You must get these on as they go.
That's perfect.
Watch that now.
Ross, I was going to say, pizzas you can do, because I've had them a few times.
Just keep it, because it's quite amazing what they
check
do.
out the chain, check the bubbles. No way. But it's true what I said though, Ross.
What?
Everything here is organic, farm, done. You guys making it all.
Yeah, we try to not everything, but we try to do as much as we can.
What is your background?
I grew up in Durban, Kath grew up in Joburg, and then we've been living out of cities since we left school. So
What forced the change?
nothing, just the desire not to live in a city.
Yeah. And how hard is it to separate yourself from what society believes is normal and living sustainably like you do now? Because I mean, even your house, I mean, that's a house that if you took the roof off, it wouldn't be around much longer, the cob house.
Yeah, we'll just go back to the earth where it came from. So I don't find it hard. I find this the easy. It would be hard to go and do the other.
To go and do that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like when we chatted to the guys in the Kloof, the same thing. He said he couldn't imagine living in the city because it would be like he wouldn't actually understand how to do it. But to set up like this, I mean, you're running, everything's on solar. Even your filtration system, you're going for the pool.
Yeah.
Is that stuff that you think up yourself, or is this stuff that has always been around and we've just forgotten how to live that way?
I guess there are more and more people who are living like this, so the information is out there.
You were saying to me earlier, like there is no rule book here. You look at, like we were chatting about the olive trees and how they're going. You say, oh, not going so well. That would stress some people out, but you seem quite chilled about the whole thing. You find new ways of understanding how nature works.
Well, that's one of the ways that we've made our life, is so we're not dependent on one thing. We've got multiple income sources, multiple ways of keeping ourselves fed and things.
Yeah.
So if one thing's not working,
There's
it's
something
fine.
else.
There's other things.
So what do
So
you?
it's the same like in the garden. If there's a pest, on some plant, we can just leave it until the natural things come and put it into balance.
Stephen, it's quite interesting, like what you do in terms of how you rotate your veggie patches, and you bring the chickens in, and once that's done, talk me through how that works.
So basically, the chickens are in a mobile cage, and the cage is placed on the vegetable beds, and they stay there for about 2 weeks, and then they move to the next bed, and then we'll plant that bed up with seedlings. So the chickens are there, they're taking out all the bad grubs or any of the grubs in the soil.
Turning the soil in a way.
They're turning it, they're fertilizing it, and they're also giving us eggs. Yeah.
It's the fun part. So Kath was not wanting to be on camera, and I said to her it was going to happen, and it is happening. No, don't stop. So carry on doing what doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But Kath, talk to me about this way of life for you, because I know you've got your massage, you've got your yoga that you do, but you're also telling me about a community feeding scheme that you've started with one of the neighbouring farms.
So basically what happened when lockdown came about, I think we were about 4 or 5 weeks into it, and people in our village, Durrës, started getting funds together to put together boxes for people that had lost their work and things like that. And that had been done once or twice, and then people made the comment that that's not sustainable. So Durrës hasn't got an enormous economy, and people said, for how long can we do this? And then Sile Leroux, our neighbour, said that the way that we can do it is we're farmers and we can grow the food. So she offered 1 hectare of land with water and a beautiful arable land. And she said anyone is welcome to come and start growing food there. So that's what we did. And it's a beautiful name, it's called Majestic, which means a pantry farm.
Cool.
And so anyone from Durrës, it doesn't matter who you are, anyone from Durrës can come and volunteer. It's normally just for a morning. And in exchange, when you're done with your couple of hours of volunteering, you can take back whichever vegetables you like from the farm.
It really is a sense of community, because everyone here works together to make it better for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, there really is that sense of helping each other out.
Completely.
And I suppose the transferring of skills too, because
Yeah.
people that have lost that ability to farm, stuff that you guys know,
Yeah.
they're picking up now through seeing you do what you do.
Yeah, or maybe it's people that used to farm when they were kids
Yeah.
and they haven't done it
Yeah.
for years and years, and now all of a sudden that's coming back to them. So it's beautiful.
It's unbelievable. I know.
Yeah.
Like even like your setup that you've got here with the yoga too. Everything about Numbi just feels at peace. I mean, I don't think you and Ross intend to do that, but I think it's your way and it just happens naturally. Or was there a thought process to everything?
That's a hard question. No, I think we just go with the flow. We kind of, whatever we feel like designing or doing, we do that.
Yeah.
And we like to keep it quite diverse so that we don't get stuck in one thing. It's the same thing, stagnant, or we're just teaching yoga, or we're just doing massage. So a day can be so varied here. It can be from irrigation to making pizzas and chatting to amazing people, to growing veggies, to whatever it is, you know. It's such fun, and we don't become afraid. We just go with the next thing. But I think there's a tendency of people to want to minimize nature. You can see it in the way people live. They want everything clean, they want tiled floors and maybe white minimalist living. And yet nature is not that. Nature is beautiful and chaotic and abundant. And it's a strange time that we're living in, where we try to minimalize it. We try to do it in the way we farm, we try to do it in the way we live. And yet it's saying no. It's saying, let's be wild.
Yeah. But aren't you guys seeing that change? Because I imagine even the people in the years that you've been running, like the B&B side of things, where people come and stay, aren't you seeing people's mindsets change? Because in the beginning, maybe people are like, oh, hello, this might be a little bit too off the grid for me. But now it's almost like that is what people are looking for.
I think lockdown is a lot more people are looking at where their food comes from and how to cope with suddenly the system not being as stable as they thought it was.
I think it's kind of been an amazing process for all of us. I know everyone, it's been hard, lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you guys are kind of ahead of the curve, and I think a lot of people are starting to catch up and realizing what is enough. How much do I really need?
Yeah.
Do I need all this stuff? And starting to look at
Yeah.
simpler ways to live a happier, fuller life, I suppose.
Yeah, not only that, but understanding that we're in relationship with nature.
Yeah.
So we can't
We
live
aren't the
without
boss.
it. No, we're all connected. We all depend on one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is dependable on the other. Yeah.
Well, tonight.
Can't live in isolation.
Well, tonight I'm dependent on you for my supper.
It's coming.
That's cool. What have we got here?
So we've got a little bit of olive oil from our olive trees with some garlic grown in the garden and a homemade tomato sauce with a little bit of basil in it, some garlic chive, spinach, some leeks, and then we're going to add some cheese, tomatoes, olives. There's a little bit of asparagus. It's the last of the season. Some pepper juice, green peppers, and then some feta on the top.
Usually when you get dumped in a hot tub with wood burning underneath you, you're about to be eaten by some savage tribe. But here at Numbi, this is a all different experience. You get to lie under the Karoo stars and soak in a bath filled with herbs from the Numbi farm. It's hot. You've got to sit in these rubber mats. My balls on fire. The cool thing is you can jump out and have a cold shower. I can also add cold water into it. I might do some of that. You don't believe that I'm on fire. Literally, have a look here. It's a flipping pizza. And yeah. Truly special couple, Kath and Ross are, with a really incredible venue, and I hope you guys got that in the little interaction we had with them yesterday. The whole idea with this trip was to discover new places, but also for me to come back to places that I've discovered and really resonated with. I probably came here 6 or 7 years ago, and it remains one of my favorite places because the minute you walk in here, it is just a complete feeling of calm and serenity and peace. And I think the way they live completely in harmony with nature is something that we all aspire to, and I'm a little bit envious of their lifestyle because they don't owe anyone anything. They're not reliant on anyone else for their happiness. It's all the effort that they put in on a daily basis, and you get the feeling of calm and peace when you hang out with them. And maybe the timing at this stage in the trip has worked out perfectly because I'm at that point now where I feel like I need to take a little bit of time. So I've decided that we're not going to leave the area. We're going to go and camp at a neighbouring farm, Celia's farm that Kath was telling you about, where they've got that community farming project. hang out there for a day or two and just recharge. We all need time. Next time on Just to See How Far It Is. These are the stories that we should be telling. This makes me so happy. There are so many good people in the world that are doing wonderful things for communities, and you know, at the end of the day, nothing is for nothing. You can give of your time, you can give of your expertise, which is what Celia and Kath and the guys are doing. They've given land, Kath has given her time and her expertise, but the people are coming here and are working for their food. She was getting payback here. She had me set on kiddie stirrups. I was going to be going with my knees behind my ears. Last time I did that was when I was 5-yard jockey. I know my surname's Roberts, my name's not Mate.